Here we go. Yes, indeed, we back on another episode of Chill Will Talks. I'm your host, Chill Will 174th, and the topic gonna be today: can you date somebody's ex? That's the topic of today. I've been thinking about this for a long time. This type of question. I was curious about this, so I said, let me get into it. Let me get some feedback from the people. You know what I'm saying? So one of the questions I have about dating somebody's ex is, if you guys went to high school and your man used to date a certain girl in high school, and say 10 years later or even 20 years later you run into that girl and she done been married, your homeboy done been married, they both done moved on with their separate lives, and you happen to run into that girl and y'all grown people, do you have the right to date that person, or is it still off limits because that's your homeboy's ex from 20 years ago high school or 10 years ago high school? Or is there any rules that apply to that? Because you grown, you could do what you want at the end of the day. Nobody could tell you who to date or who to love or who to fall in love with. If your homeboy ain't with that person. But I just want to know, is that still off limits if it's been 20 years and you ran into that girl and y'all decide to hook up or y'all decide to date? Is that wrong? Is that bad? Is it not? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need to know the answer to that question. You know what I'm saying? And the other question is got to do with the snitching, because you hear the don't snitch, stop snitching, this, that, and the third. And I'm not saying I'm for it or whatever. I'm just asking the question of, who made up these rules that you're supposed to follow? Because these ain't laws. I mean, these are street laws or street rules, but these ain't real laws. And at the end of the day with your life, you're going to make decisions that's best for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's in a certain situation is going to make a decision that's best for themselves. However it go down, however it works. Nobody can tell you how to live your life, how to feel, how to move, because they ain't in your shoes. You know what I mean? They can tell you what they think you should do. They can suggest something, but they can't tell you exactly what to do, because you're going to do what's best for you at the end of the day at all times. That's anybody. And most of the niggas that say they ain't snitching and they the tough guys, and when they get behind them bars and them police got them in them rooms, man, a lot of times that shit changes. And one thing I learned about life, you never gonna react how you thought you was gonna react when something really happened. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say, if that was me, would have did this, would have did that. And then guess what happened? When them situations come about, most of the time, we don't react how we think we're gonna react or how we want to react. And that don't mean that you're soft. And that don't mean that sometimes you got to think about your actions before you move. Or sometimes it's not the best time to move a certain way when you move. So you got to think about your moves and your actions sometimes. But getting back to is snitching wrong? Is it right? You know what I'm saying? Who is it best for? You hear the word civilian come up when it comes to snitches. Like, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? But getting back to the question of dating the ex. Is it wrong to date your man's ex after like 20 years or after like 10 years of them not seeing each other and them parting ways and going their separate ways, doing what they do? Is it wrong for that when you run into that person? You know what I'm saying? Is it wrong for you not to like that person after 10 years? You run into a person, you see the girl, she looking good, like, damn, I ain't seen you in 10 years. And she done had kids, your homie done had kids, they done moved on, they done got married, they done forgot about each other, you know what I mean? Is it wrong to date that person, or is it still like off limits? That's the real question. But somebody help me out there, you know what I'm saying, with the question. I'm here, it's early, but I got the Henny with me right now. I've been doing what I've been doing, but it is what it is, man. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting me. A lot of people ain't supporting me, but it's cool. It is what it is, man. It's another episode of Chill Will Talks. Holla at your boy. One.